we go. This is not a power scaling video, so please relax. I'm just using this as a means of exploring the concept of potential in JJK, as potential is a concept many anime explore differently, and I like how JJK expresses it. I'm not here to discuss who is stronger, because that's obviously Yuta. Freedom versus limitation. Who was really the most gifted Jujutsu student? Potential Man is a topic that has flooded JJK's community, with all the focus being on Megumi Fushiguro. Many of you likely already understand the source of why Megumi is clowned on, so I won't get deep into it here. But I think many people give Megumi a bit too much flack regarding his performance, and some even question if Megumi truly had potential beyond just spamming Mahoraga. So I'm going to put him against someone I think is perfect for a discussion about potential. Does Megumi have more potential than Yuta Okatsu? Honestly, there are a couple points to be made that I think make this very interesting. Let's analyze Megumi first. Megumi was someone trained from a young age. Gojo is a lousy teacher, by his own admission, because things come so naturally for him. But he should have at least been able to point Megumi in the right direction. He, on multiple occasions, commented on Yuta's cursed energy efficiency, and stated that Kusakabe should have instructed him better on how to refine it. This implies that a person's efficiency can be seen by normal people. Gojo has the 6 eyes, so he likely would have instructed Megumi on similar ways to improve his cursed energy efficiency. The many resources Megumi had should have boosted his rate of growth. Regarding his shadows, the only point worth discussing would be his totalities, as the true strength of the 10 shadows exists there. Agito isn't much of a point here, as we don't know if Megumi is able to create a totality of that power level, as he never did anything close to it. The sole biggest point giving Megumi a chance of overcoming Yuta in potential would be Mahoraga. But do we really count Mahoraga as a part of Megumi's potential? For one, he never actually tamed Mahoraga. And yes, we know that a sorcerer's innate technique equates to about 80% of their potential, but this is a bit extreme. Mahoraga is practically its own entity as it attacks the user upon being summoned. I would even argue that Megumi never taming Mahoraga is the story's way of telling us he didn't have potential on that level, as if he truly did, that someone at some point would have hinted at a method of taming the beast, which never happened. Each totality needs to be defeated by Megumi in order for him to use them. Unlike other curse techniques, 10 Shadows has this almost entry-level requirement that is needed to even use the technique in the first place. Unlike someone like Yuta, who upon gaining a technique, he can immediately use it to its full potential, Megumi has to prove his ability to use it. So I would even personally argue that for Megumi, in his case, this 80% rule doesn't really apply to its full extent, because it's only determined by him. That's one. Next would be Megumi's domain expansion. Achieving a domain within your first year is highly impressive. Genuinely, I can't say anything bad about this, as we never saw if Yuta acquired a domain in his first year, or if Gojo did. We know they currently have one, but no confirmation means we can't assume. And this is honestly where I say the issue becomes complicated, because Megumi actually has a lot going against him here, and the major part of that is his mentality. The reason Megumi was able to make a domain is because he discarded the mentality that was limiting him. He allowed himself to become one with his curse, and stopped over-fixating on ideologies and beliefs on how he should conduct himself. He embraced himself, and achieved a ton of power. I think it's very telling that as soon as he stopped limiting himself, he immediately achieved an imperfect domain expansion against a special grade curse. I'll touch on that self-limiting aspect of Megumi in a moment, as that's the biggest point to be made in this video, but I think we should address Yuta first. We need to talk about Rika. Kenjaku states that Yuta's achievements and feats are only possible because of him detaining his loved one's soul. With Rika gone, Kenjaku didn't care for Yuta, or see him as impressive, stating that he couldn't even become the next Gojo. This is a statement made by arguably the most knowledgeable and experienced sorcerer in all of history, so it's not like it doesn't hold weight. But Kenjaku is missing an important point here. Rika was only a factor due to Yuta's immense latent talent. Many people experience mourning or reject a loved one's passing, wanting to deny it ever happened. Yuta's immense love for Rika, combined with his latent talent, gave birth to the strongest cursed spirit in all of history. That's no small feat at all. A being with boundless cursed energy, and on top of that, he was able to learn how to use that energy after being introduced to the power system within a short period of time. In comparison, Yuji needed to actively train to grasp cursed energy, was guided by Sukuna's ingrained experience, and trained by Gojo, Nanami, and Todo to resonate with his power. Yuta was able to manifest Rika's cursed energy on one of its first missions, and within a year was able to learn reverse curse technique and apply to others. He learned swordsmanship and fought a flurry of curses, and then finally fought against Geto. Kenjaku says Geto only lost because he divided his forces, and that may be the case on some level, but it is undeniable that this Geto was much more capable than one from hidden inventory, and back then he was capable enough to be in conversation with strongest with Gojo. They were put on missions together, and their teacher considered them relative enough for Gojo not to be slowed down by Geto. Yuta fought relative to Geto pre-Black Flash, and after hitting Black Flash, entered a new realm. Todo mentioned that after hitting Black Flash, the difference is incomparable. You practically become a whole new person. Yuta was just beginning his awakening, and managed to knock Geto down. He lost Rika, a major source of his power, and lost his special grade status, but within 3 months he regained it all. Many forget that Yuta didn't even know what cursed energy was until he became a student, and had no one to teach him. His first serious fight was against the curse that Geto sent after him in Inumaki. And just as we mentioned with Megumi, curse techniques account for 80% of your potential, and Yuta's copy technique makes him a massive threat to anyone, as he is able to take what makes them competent and within moments fully understand how to utilize it against them, and is able to handle a myriad of curse techniques in sync to overcome challenges completely stacked against him. Now, we all know I am a Yuta glazer, so it sounds like I'm going to say Yuta is incomparably talented compared to Megumi, but I'm not actually going to say that, because in truth, they are a lot closer than you would assume. The major difference is that one operates with a limitation and the other operates fully embracing the power system. Look at the two of them. Yuta is an individual filled to the brim with negative emotion. He often comes off as innocent and naive, but it's in this innocence that gives way to something genuinely terrifying. His genuine love for others is so strong, it cursed his lover for years as a distorted curse. When he saw what happened to Maki, he lashed out at Rika and started tweaking about needing to kill Geto. Negative emotions fuel the power system, and Yuta is someone whose innocent view of the world translates to a pure and potent fury that becomes overwhelming. I wouldn't be surprised if Rika's boundless cursed energy was a manifestation of this personality trait. And Rika being there is a factor we need to account for. We learned from Switch training that a person's body can adapt when someone else is possessing it. Now, I'm not saying that Rika possesses Yuta, but I think there is a good argument to be made that Yuta's rate of growth was because he was connected to her. Almost like having a simulation where you can endlessly test out skills. He didn't have the restriction of the amount of energy at his disposal, and could do anything near seamlessly. So to him, anything would be easier to learn. I compare it to investing. If you have $1,000, you can invest well, but there's a limit. But if you had $1 million, suddenly you have so much more to work with, you can freely test out different methods to zone in on the most effective. This freedom that comes from an overwhelming abundance is where I think Yuta benefits the most from. Megumi, as I mentioned, is mentally limited. Ever since his introduction, he has been limiting himself, and only by foregoing that limitation does his true capabilities begin to show. He just never got a chance to do that. Yuta hit a Black Flash, and Megumi never hit a Black Flash, so his potential never fully manifested like Yuta's did. And still, he could do all these insane feats, like manifesting an incomplete domain and entering a domain clash against Dagon, a special grade disaster curse. That Black Flash point needs to be investigated, as we see the sheer level of improvement that comes from it. A night and day difference. Without one, it's hard to say you could ever truly reach your full potential. But that also is entirely his own fault. So what is my verdict? Who do I think has the greatest potential between Yuta Akatsu and Megumi Fushiguro? My answer is of course, Yuta. With everything mentioned, it's hard for me to not choose the cursed child. I would honestly say that they are relative if not equal if they both fully realize their latent talents. But whether someone has the quality to bring out those talents is also a part of potential. Someone with the hunger to win can be less gifted than someone who lacks that hunger, and still go much further. In the end, the mentality is what dominates their potential. not the tools they were born with. And megumi just lacked that proper mindset.